Hi, I'm Dustin, one of the Ozcode magicians. In the previous part of this video, we were checking out the Ozcode compare feature. We looked at comparing local variables and complex objects using the compare window. In this part, we're going to continue looking at the compare feature, this time looking at snapshots and comparing large strings using your favorite diff tool. If you've ever needed to compare an object instance from different points in time, like before and after an operation has occurred, you'll know that Visual Studio doesn't give you the ability to do so, and requires some workarounds via code or ad hoc coding in the media window. With Ozcode, we can take snapshots of the state of a variable or object and save them for later use. Let's see what that looks like. To demonstrate this, we're going to revisit the unit test we used in the breakpoints video. In this unit test, we were looking to determine what was changed after the call to the calculate order total method. Let's set a breakpoint on the calculate method and examine the test order object before we go any further. We know it's in a state that is correct, and we want to see what the state looks like after the calculation happens. We do this by taking a snapshot. Start by comparing the object as normal. In the setup window, you'll notice a camera button. This will allow us to take a snapshot of the current state of the object. Since Ozcode lets us take as many snapshots as we want, we can assign it a meaningful name so that it makes sense to us later on. By default, Ozcode applies a timestamp to the name, but let's change the name to before calculation, which will make more sense when we recall it later. If you have a complex object ref, you can change the snapshot depth, which will include more detail. Once we click OK, Ozcode will save a snapshot of this instance that we can use later to compare against. Let's step over the calculate method and compare the current state of the test order with the snapshot we just created. In the setup window, the dropdown will show us a list of available instances to compare against, including the snapshots. Let's select our snapshot and then compare. Now we can go through the object and we can see what was changed. Of course, we can select the Show Differences Only checkbox to make this easier for us. Let's head back over to our compare project from part 1. We'll run this project and examine the test order object once more. In the dropdown, we still have access to the snapshot we took previously, even though it was from another project and we stopped our debugging session. Ozcode will persist the snapshots forever until you delete them, which you can do using the delete button next to each snapshot. While Ozcode is great at comparing objects and values, sometimes the values are too large to evaluate in the compare window. This is why Ozcode lets us use our favorite diff tool to compare values when you need to. From the Ozcode menu, select Options and then click the Diff Tool tab. From here, we can select from the most commonly used diff tools. Select the diff tool of your choice from the dropdown. Whichever diff tool you choose will need to be installed in order to use this feature. I have WinMerge installed, so I'll select WinMerge. If you don't see your tool of choice, you can also browse to it. With the diff tool set up, we can compare large strings now. Let's see how this works by comparing two JSON responses from our API calls. When we compare the two strings, Ozcode will automatically open the diff tool for us, and we can use the tools provided by that diff tool. When comparing objects in the compare window, you might want to compare two values using your diff tool. And you can do this using the diff tool icon next to the property that you want to compare. Being able to take snapshots of an object and use them for comparison at a later time is a powerful debugging tool. And being able to recall and compare multiple instances is extremely beneficial when trying to troubleshoot a bug. For times when we need to work with large strings, a diff tool can be a real asset. Ozcode recognizes this and has made it quick and easy to access and compare right from Visual Studio. In the next video, we'll be looking at Ozcode's Magic Glance. Thanks for watching.